Log history. He goes to Natchez, he works the pilgrimage to Natchez, he's a tour guide, he's involved in just about anything historical in Franklin. And he said his two favorite people are Betsy Adams and Bishop Odie. Now there's a story, or two stories at least. Scott has been historian for St. Paul's Franklin, where you'll be going next Tuesday for 25 years. So, Scott, we are delighted to have you and Tootie here, and let's be sure you're hooked on and I'm turned off.
Oh, how's that? Thank you. It's good to be back with you. I looked up this morning, it was June 2011 the last time I was here to talk to y'all about Abolition Act. How many of you were here? Quite a few of you still come back? Well, I couldn't believe it had been that long. It's been like a couple of weeks, so I was really excited at the opportunity. What I want to tell him is I'm a historian only by birth, I guess. It's not for a profession, it's certainly not even, I know a little bit about a lot of different things, I guess, rather than just a true historian. So when he asked me, I started to think of the historians, and they were either booked or expensive, so for free. So don't hold me accountable for every little detail. But as we say in Natchez, we don't always tell what's true, we tell what ought to be true. And I want to ask my friend and comrade from Natchez, Miss Tootie Magnolia, when she's there, why are all these people dressed so funny? This lady right here, you can let them without her hoops altogether. Sir, don't look at her ankle like that. Well, we're so glad to have all of you. I want to start out with one just for the Episcopalians, because I was having trouble, as you saw, as I knew I would be with my sound system. Can you all see that? I want to ask you, does this apply for St. George's? Because it sure does for St. Paul's. That's probably okay. Well, all right. My first love of funny outfits. This is me. So what I want to explain with this is I've always liked dressing up. And as Betsy just found out, I have two speeds, on and off. I'm either totally unrecognizable in jeans and a t-shirt or all like this. And growing up in Franklin, you better like history or move, because back then you just grew up right there among so much history. And I've loved it, thank goodness, and made it a big part of my life. Met a lot of wonderful people and great friends through this way. But I got started very early. My other reason for being interested in the Battle of Franklin was my own great-great-grandfather fought there, the 54th Alabama. That's him here closest to me. And William C. Summer from Mobile. He was one of 9 men that survived his company after the Battle of Franklin. It was almost totally wiped out. And so he went on from there to fight in Nashville, and then went back, married, and started having children. So, but for the grace of God, I wouldn't be here had he not survived that awful conflict. Getting on with the story of the battle itself, November 30th, 1864, the most probably famous anniversary Franklin hopefully will ever know. And we have been in the war for quite some time now, as you might realize. And I want to start the story backing up in Spring Hill, where I live now, not far from this place right here, Rippavilla Plantation. And what happened was the Army of Tennessee advancing towards Nashville. We're coming up late in a war like this, everybody was tired. They were very disillusioned, they were sick, and things were just not looking good. It was winter time, and they get up to Spring Hill, and the night of the 29th, somehow, they think right down Main Street actually, the federal troops, who General Hood and his Army of Tennessee thought they had bottled up that night, slipped past them. And they were camped out in different routes, thinking if the enemy were going to make an escape, they would never do something so brazen as the Main Street. They would go these off routes. So they had their bases covered there. The Army just marched right on in, past them in the middle of the night. And much to the surprise and dismay of General Hood. Now, the Chairs family, who had built Rippavilla Plantation, is the photograph you're looking at here. And Rippavilla became the scene of breakfast the next morning when General Hood woke up and was informed that the Union Army had slipped past him in the night, and he was very, very outraged. And so he met with his generals and staff over here at breakfast at Rippavilla. When I was growing up at the Carter House, some of those diehard ladies like Margaret Early Wyatt, if you remember her. She used to tell people swords were drawn over the breakfast table, they got a big argument. And it was not quite that dramatic, but I am told with great assurance that General Forrest took General Hood, who you see here, the commander of the Army of Tennessee, out on the porch, and he had injuries from Gettysburg and Chickamauga, respectively. So he had no use of his one arm, and one of his legs had been amputated after Chickamauga. So as a result, General Forrest had a little mercy on him and just told him that if he were a whole man, he would whip him within an inch of his life for attempting to do something like what they were planning. But nevertheless, it was and of course, we also grew up saying General Hood was crazy. You know this old saying about craziness. And so it was a great shock to me to find out that people were beginning to discover that he was not a drug addict. They had said that he was high on laudanum all the time because of his ailments and had gotten addicted to them, and that was one of the reasons he had made such choices. And now they've found a lot of evidence to the contrary, a lot of letters from people like Robert E. Lee and a lot of great commanders who still respected him and knew that he was up against basically the devil in the deep blue sea. And he had just moments to make decisions, and he did it, and the outcome, of course, became history. Some of his